Okay, so as part of my kind of Samhain Halloween themed tarot review with Talula week, I couldn't help but review the Ludy Lescot tarot deck. This is produced by Lescot, and let's fetch from the little white book down. Hold on one second, I'll be right. Okay, so I had to go grab the little white book. So the deck is supposedly by Ludy Lescot. I don't know if that's a real person or not. And then the artwork's by Patrizio Evangelisti. I hope I'm saying that right. So let me just give you a few complaints that I have about the deck. Because it's a Scarabeo deck, the little white book, like, it looks really fat, and so you think you're getting a lot of info, but it's in several languages. So you're only actually getting a few pages of information. And the meanings are not like this means this, this means that, which I don't care about, but you might mind about, especially if you're just starting to work with tarot. For instance, card 0, the Fool. I met a mad and powerful spirit during my travels. I heard his music play for me. I continued along my path because I was not ready to lose myself forever. So that's a bit cryptic and could be kind of confusing, especially, again, if you're just starting with tarot. The other gripe that I have is that the cards are super slippery and kind of flimsy. And the case for the deck is a bit flimsy as well. And I talked about that in the last few reviews for this kind of Halloween Samhain-themed series. So that's the only complaints I have about this deck, is that the cards are really slippery and very flimsy. They scratch really easily, and that the case is really flimsy as well and can get quite damaged before you even open the deck up. This is the backing of the cards. I love this backing. I love this deck. I love the artwork in this deck. I didn't even divide this up because the artwork is that great. Here's, let's see, the Ace of Cups. Hold on. I have to go back in here and look in the thing because I always get confused about what the Pentacles are. Okay, this is the Ace of Pentacles. Here's the Ace of Pentacles. So that is, side point, a little gripe that I have, that I always have about Scarabeo decks, that the suits are just an image on the card, and the court cards are images on the top as well, so you kind of have to look at this little chart to remember if you don't use the deck constantly. I use this deck quite a bit, but I still get confused about the Pentacles being a triangle. I don't know why, but I feel like that should be like wand energy or something. I don't know why. Even though I know that the associations for the elements are set up in a triangle form, it's still a little confusing for me. But I love the artwork in this deck. Here's the star. So there's some nudity. It is sexually themed, and it's about the deck itself, and she talks about this in the intro, is about kind of like the art of tarot learned in New Orleans. So it has this kind of moody, like a voodoo theme to it, and I absolutely love the imagery in this deck. Here's 10 of Swords. Oops, I'm kind of cutting his little head off there. This, I believe, is the Queen of Wands. And the images are just so freaking cool in this deck, and they are quite visceral, and so they do really help you to access the intuition and find a clear meaning when you use them in divination. This image does have some nudity, so if you are younger or you have young children with you, you might not want them to see this part. That's Strength. Here's the Three of Swords. I'm always intrigued by the Three of Swords in tarot decks. It's one of my kind of favorite cards to draw, and I know that the meaning is technically a negative meaning, but I actually find it to be a card that gives you a lot of clarity very quickly, and so I'm always intrigued to see how the artist is going to depict the Three of Swords, and I'm not disappointed at all with this deck. Okay, so the knights in this deck are like pretty good looking guys for the most part. Here is, let me see, I believe this is the Knight of Swords. Like, you just really get that knight energy from them, and they just kind of go along with that voodoo, like, late Victorian time period theme. Really cool. let's see. Oh, here's the Ace of Wands. So the aces are all women in masks, which is really cool. This is the Fool. If you find clowns and things like that kind of creepy, you're going to be creeped out by this deck. Let's see. What else is here? I mean, I really, here is the Ace of Swords. And this is the Queen of Swords that I erroneously called the Page of Swords in one of my Intro to Stones videos. Let's see, this is Judgment, I believe. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is the World. For some reason, Roman numerals really trip me up. And I just love that image. Here, this is the Judgment card. This is fascinating. This is one of the most fascinating images of Judgment I've seen. Like, really draws me in, and I could spend quite some time meditating with this card and have done so. Okay, I'm pretty sure that this is the Page. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The other guy was a Page. This is a Knight. So the Pages and the Knights are pretty cool in this deck. As you can see, I do have to keep checking the chart because I don't use this deck every single day. Oh, here's the Chariot. I love this one. Even though I love it, and I actually do use it quite often, just something about these symbols in the Scarabeo decks really kind of trip me up at times. Let's see. Ooh, Six of Swords. Four of Cups. Just really, really, just great visceral images. This is the Hermit. Oh, sorry. Oh, this one's great. Eight of Swords. Again, I'm drawn in by the swords element with this deck a lot. Okay, here's our Knight of Swords. This is the High Priestess. Or the Priestess. I don't really totally get the image, but I like the image, and I find it effective in readings. So I have used this deck in several readings for other people besides myself, and I've had a great experience with it. Here's a clown, guys. Six of Cups. Yeah, I found it to be great to read for other people. Like, the meanings are really clear. I love the imagery in this deck. Some people do get really creeped out by this deck, though, which is good to know if you're out there giving readings for others. I did have one client who was not very comfortable with this deck, and typically I just explain that I read best with darker decks, and I asked them to just understand that. But she was really, really uncomfortable, and so I did feel intrigued by that, I guess. I didn't feel sorry that I used the deck because it was the deck that said it wanted to come and work with her, and there was a reason why it bothered her. So I was quite intrigued by that, but you may find that this is a deck that bothers some people. Here's Four of Wands. Let's see. There's another card that I'm looking for in here that I should have. Oh, I love the Lovers in this deck. Isn't that cool? And I read a review before I bought this online, and someone was saying that that was a terrible image, and all I could think of, which is why it's so great to watch reviews, because all I could think of was, oh my god, I love that image of the Lovers. I have to have this deck. So even if, like, we're saying, as a reviewer, whatever, that we don't like something or we do like something, I just love the fact that you're having your own experience with the images when you see them, and you pretty much can tell right away, you know, if it's the deck for you or not. Let's see, Justice. Beautiful. Here is the Four of Pentacles, which I think this is like really obvious what the meaning is with that, and I enjoy that. The Hanged Man. There's only two images that I don't really love, and I can't find that image I was looking for, which is interesting. The Empress. Her face bothers me in this deck. Don't know why, but it does. And the Moon. I don't know. It's just not my favorite depiction of the Moon. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to find that image. I just really, really love the Ludy Lescot Tarot deck. I highly recommend it. It's amazing. It might just be in my essentials video for tarot. I'm not sure. I think that the meanings are really clear. So if you're new to working with tarot, besides the fact that the symbolism for the suits and the court cards can be quite confusing, it's a great deck to start out with because there's not too much detail or symbolism. Like, it's pretty focused, and I get a very clear understanding of what the meaning that the interpreter had set up for the card wanted it to have. Keep having to look at this thing. Okay, this is the Knight of Pentacles. So, yeah, ooh, Five of Wands. I think I forgot to show that. Isn't that great? So I really love this deck. It's gorgeous. It's a lot of fun to work with. The imagery, again, very clear. So if you're starting with tarot, I think this is a great deck to start with. You're just going to have to memorize that chart and really work solo with this deck for a while to get that down. If you're like me and you're a bit of a, like, I use a different deck every day for the most part, except for my set ones that I will draw from every day regardless of whether I use a different deck. If you use multiple decks and you're doing that daily, then you're not going to be able to memorize the chart very quickly if you don't memorize things well, which I have to really focus in order to memorize. So that's something that it's worth being aware of. But other than that, I absolutely love this deck. I think it's great. Thumbs up if you like the imagery, which the artwork is absolutely entrancing in this, I think. Then, oh, here's Death. Here's 13, Death, which is what I wanted to show you, and I lost track of. There we go. I don't think I showed that. That's what I wanted to show. I love that image. Then this is a great deck to work with if you're drawn to the imagery in this deck. Really love it. It's a fun one to interact with and to meditate with. And I love the colors. It's like lots of purples and browns and muted golds, and like wine and merlot colors, and I really love that. Like, it's dark in its own way, color-wise, that Ghosts and Spirits tarot has, like that kind of muted blues and silvers going on, and this is like muted purples and browns and blacks and gray, not silver. So I really enjoy that, and just really can't say enough great things about this deck. I love it. It's fun to work with. I mean, it's one of those decks that's like fun, even though it's darker themed. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's enjoyable to work with. It doesn't require hours and hours of study to get a handle on what the messages are for the cards. So I hope that you found this review helpful. And we will see you in the next Samhain Halloween themed tarot review. Have a great day, guys. Bye.